happen all this time, but if you have any updates that you can give us on what is happening to them.
Well, it's not just immediately the attention of the consulate in Dubai was drawn to it. The consul general was, now they are right now in the holding center, and they are being profiled. Some of them have passports, some of them don't have passports. Some, there are some children that actually have no form of identification. Some don't even remember the names with which they entered the country originally. So they need to be profiled. And then some actually, it's also important to ensure that some are not, have committed a crime and are trying to just run away. So what the consulate is doing now is profiling everybody. And at the holding center, the profile is ongoing. Initially, at the airport, there was a fake WhatsApp message sent to everybody that, listen, there are flights. That's what led to the rush to the airport. And there were quite a number of Africans. So the consulate identified the Nigerians, like I said, is a holding place. Now, here's the thing. It's after the profiling that they will take a decision on the next steps to take. So the consulate and the embassy will brief the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the next steps will be taken. But the key thing is that profiling has to be done. You can't just go and carry everybody and say, get on board. We need to know you're Nigerians. Like I said, some don't have any passports. There are children with, you don't even know their parents. There are some with a little profiling done that have no form of identification. Then you also have to ensure that you don't have some criminals who have committed a crime in Dubai and want to use the opportunity to run away. So while it's a situation on ground, it's important that we allow the mission, the consulate, to do the proper profiling. And then, of course, the federal government, as always, will now take the next steps when they are identified properly as Nigerians and ensure that everything is properly done. So that's the situation as we speak. And I'm sure by tomorrow there'll be more information from the consulate to the ministry, and then the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will take the next steps on what next to do with them. And then there's an opportunity to reiterate once more. If you go to these countries without your documents, you're going to get into trouble. You're going to get into trouble. So there's no point going to all these places without your documentation. You're not going to get a job. And ultimately, it's always a frustrating and very, very pathetic situation. So we want to appeal to Nigerians, just don't go to these places without your proper documentation. You know, at the end of the day, you come back with nothing if you come back alive. So we can guarantee that the mission is actually on top of the situation. They're profiling them, and at the end of the profiling, the next steps will be taken. Some may not even be Nigerians. So that's why it's important that we can't just rush and say, okay, all of you pack on a plane and come back. The profiling is very key. How can you be in a country without knowing the name that you used to enter? You know? And like I said, there are children without any parents. They're just there as children. Where's your mother? Where's your father? Nobody knows. So it's important that we allow the mission, and they're already doing that. So please, this is very important that it should be done. So yes, there's a lot of noise on social media, but the right things have to be done. The Honorable Minister of State Foreign Affairs was recently in the UAE. He had a very good meeting with his counterparts there. In fact, it was another of the binational commission meetings, and a lot of MOUs were signed. So there's no problem with the bilateral relations between Nigeria and the UAE. The problem is with us and our behavior. And we need to tell ourselves the home truth. We need to behave properly. And you see, the bad ones will always spoil the good. And we shouldn't allow that to happen. So we don't have a problem with country-to-country relationship. So we need to tell ourselves the truth, stop bad behavior, stop going to these places and stop taking crime to another person's country. So if you think that you can't obey laws in your own country, you take to another country, it's going to affect everybody. And it's beginning to. In the meantime, this is not about condemning anybody, it's about ensuring that these Nigerians, government does what they need to do, but it has to be properly done. The profiling has to be completed. And if you're a criminal running away, it's not likely that the mission will just put you on a plane and send you back. So it has to be properly done. So we just appeal for calm and patience, and the rest assured that the Nigerian consulate in the UAE is actually on top of this situation.
But do we have it?
So just to reiterate that we really need to stop behaving, we need to stop. I mean, how long do you keep evacuating? How long are you going to keep evacuating people when you know that you're going illegally and you're going to commit a crime? There has to be a time that really we need to tell ourselves the home truth. We really need to tell ourselves the home truth, and we have to stop bad behavior. And that is the truth.
Those girls were not, they promised them a job. They didn't know they were.
Look, just leave that one. This President Buhari has brought back over 10,000 from Libya with the support of the IOM. It was the same story that we didn't know. So you, the media, you have a role to play. How can anybody now say you didn't know with all the noise we've been making? You know? And as long as traffickers are walking around, some that have, I don't want to, anyway, let's leave. We've said what we have to say.
The issue is when you tell these people, as you're telling them, you'll be like,
and they will still go. And then you now, and the media is exact, and then it's the media that will come and say, government. Too. Look, but the most important thing really is that it's affecting all of you. It's affecting everybody. And in, yes.
Turkey, they said because some Nigerians went, they will forge that they have like a UK visa for 10 years. 10 years, then they will give them 20.
Oh, so you know these things.
Yes,
Talk about it.
They will give you like maybe dual entry.
And then when you...
When they